Hi, it's Liz Sneddon here. Let's have a look at different kinds of studies. So there are three different types of studies that we can talk about. We can look at a survey or a poll, and we'll explain the difference between those two shortly. We can have an observational study, or we can have an experimental study. So for a survey, the key idea here is that we are collecting data using a questionnaire. So there'll be multiple questions. We're going to ask a whole bunch of questions from a range of different people. A poll is when we ask one question to some people and they give their opinion on that. So what do you think of Miss Sneddon's videos? What do you think of the government? Okay, so one opinion on a subject. An observational study is when we can either observe people or we could observe objects. So we could observe light bulbs and see what they are doing. We can observe chemicals combining together. So we can talk about observations where we observe something and we don't alter or control their behaviour in any way. So if I'm gathering data from observing students in my class, then I'm just going to look and notice who is working, who's not working, who's using a pen, who's using a pencil, who's using their laptop. So I'm observing things, and the akonga, the students, are making the choice themselves about what they do or don't do, and I simply observe and record those decisions. In an experimental study, the person in charge is applying a treatment to those participants. So that's when we talk about applying a treatment, I might say to you, okay, I need you to go and do this, and I need these students to go and do this other thing. So when I as the investigator tell you to do this or to do that, then that is what forms the basis of an experimental study. So the difference between random samples and random allocations. So this is connected to it. So random samples are we do random sampling when we have surveys and polls, and we do it when we have observational studies. The experimental studies, we use random allocation. So that's why we need to know the difference between these. So random sample is when we're randomly selecting people or objects from a population and choosing some of them to be in our sample. Whereas random allocation, I want to form two groups, for example, and I'm going to randomly allocate which person goes into which group. So I might toss a coin, and if it's a coin, you go into the purple group. If it's a heads, you go into the blue group. So I'm randomly allocating, I'm randomly deciding who's going to belong in which group or receive which treatment. So we'll come into more of that as we get into year 12 and 13. Thanks for watching.